Is this a reversal on DXY? At the end of the week and month, we can see that DXY has formed a very interesting price action. We see that from this bull flag, the market started to break out. Last week of the month, as you can see, already we have seen a weekly close. Upcoming week is the NFP week, guys and girls. We can expect now significant movement in majority of the pairs as FOMC and NFP together, giving a huge probability for this instrument to move. And in this volatile situation, we will be looking to see how we can find trading opportunity in majority of the pairs. We'll be looking at one by one all of them. So with that being said, let's begin this week's weekly Forex forecast. Make sure you give a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet. This is Forex Wizard from Forex Trading Wizard Academy. Okay, today, so let's begin with DXY first, as DXY could give us clear direction of the most of the USD pairs. So first of all, starting with the DXY and beginning with the higher time frame, looking at the monthly chart in this instrument. Now from the monthly perspective, we can see that DXY previous months has formed a long wick pin bar. Now this pin bar is quite significant, as we can see that there was a huge liquidity grab in that pin bar and the market has formed a bullish pin bar, followed by this month. So we can see that as usual the market has made significant bullish momentum. Now this monthly candle is almost closed. We could see 2 days of movement further and later we can see expect a close with almost in the same area, as this is a bullish candle. And what we can expect on the monthly, as the price has grabbed the liquidity from a bullish engulfer, DXY to move back up to create a new higher high. Now looking at the weekly chart on DXY, what we can see from the weekly perspective, there is an inverted head and shoulder formation, breakout from that inverted head and shoulder. And we see that this is the weekly candle that has also grabbed massive liquidity from this weekly support level. Now with this doji, the market has broken that low and formed a long wick doji, expecting DXY to bounce back up to create a new higher high. Now if we look at the daily chart, we can see that a bit of clearer picture, and from the daily we see a bit of clear bullish price action. What we see, there is an impulse here on DXY on the daily, followed by there is a bull flag formation. We can see that in that area on DXY there is a bull flag, and with that bull flag the market has managed to form a double bottom breakout with a strong bullish engulfer. Now with that bullish engulfer, we can see that DXY has broken that support, grabbed that liquidity and bounced back up. With this double bottom formation is potentially breakout from the bull flag, and we can expect DXY to trend to the upside as there is a new monthly opening and weekly coming up. So let's look at the lower time frame to see potential entry opportunity. Now we see that with this breakout from the DXY, from this bull flag, the market has left two important liquidity zones. This is one support here, this resistance turning support here, and we see there is a support here, expecting DXY to break below to grab more liquidity. And as this is an important area of value, we can expect DXY to retest and then to revert back to the upside to create a new higher high. So this is where you will be waiting for potential entry opportunity on DXY. Let's see how the price is doing, and based on the DXY we can look for trading opportunity in other instruments such as on Eurodollar, GBPUSD, AUDUSD, dollar CAD, and in gold. So let's look at now starting with the Euro dollar. Now as DXY is mirror of Eurodollar, let's look at bigger picture. First of all, looking at the monthly chart on euro dollar. Now from the monthly, we can see that this is a bearish market, starting with this strong bearish candle, followed by a narrower doji, followed by liquidity grab, and followed by we see another bearish candle on the monthly, and we can see that the market has formed a long wick candle so far in that area, as there are 2 still days remaining. What I think that euro dollar slowly may continue to drop as we see the market grab liquidity after forming multiple dojis, expecting euro dollar to bounce back in that support level. Now looking at the weekly chart, what we can see, narrowing down to that weekly level, there is a bearish engulfer, followed by there is one weekly narrow candle, there is another weekly long wick narrower candle. 2 weekly candles is a pullback of this strong drop, pullback, expecting euro dollar to have another impulse to the downside to this support level again. Now looking at the daily chart, what we can see from the daily time frame on euro dollar, there is a bearish engulfer. Now this bearish engulfer is quite significant, as we saw that there is a green candle has crossed that high, grabbed the liquidity and formed a long bearish engulfer. Now with that bearish engulfer, this is the previous support, which is turning resistance here with a long bearish engulfer. The price has crossed the 20 EMA and then has got breakdown below, giving a very high probability for euro dollar to drop down to create a new lower low. Now if we look at the intraday perspective on euro dollar, we can see that in that area, this is the support here and also resistance here, this is the resistance here, and in that zone what we can expect on euro dollar for this price to go ahead and retest and then to reject towards the downside. So this is where I will be waiting on euro dollar for potential liquidity grab, as the market is forming potential inverted head and shoulder in that area. We will be waiting for an entry opportunity with the market open. As soon as we find suitable entry on euro dollar, we will be looking to go short with a high probability trade setup. Now let's look at AUDUSD. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we have. Looking at the monthly chart on AUDUSD, we can see that from the monthly perspective, there is a strong bearish movement, followed by this month we see that almost monthly candle closed, which is forming a potential doji. Now this monthly candle, we saw that couldn't break this previous monthly high and form a long wick candle, expecting after the monthly close the price to keep pushing down, as we have seen a drop, pullback, expecting another drop on AUDUSD. Now looking at the weekly chart on AUDUSD, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is a drop here, followed by a pullback and consolidation, and we have seen another drop on AUDUSD. Now from the weekly, we saw this week so far a bullish momentum, and what I think that now the price initially we could see a bit of pullback and expecting to drop further, as long-term trend is bearish. Now looking at the daily chart on AUDUSD, we have seen that there is a daily move which is a complete bullish move for the whole week. In fact, this bullish move has brought that price to this another liquidity zone, as the market has reached that liquidity zone, and from that level we can expect AUDUSD to break down again to the direction of the major trend. Now looking at the intraday perspective on AUDUSD, we can see that from the lower time frame perspective, this is the important level of resistance. The price has grabbed liquidity multiple times, and in that area, as soon as we find suitable entry on AUDUSD, we'll be looking to go short with a high probability trade setup. Now let's look at GBPUSD. Let's see what kind of opportunity we have in this instrument. Now looking at the GBPUSD, looking at the monthly chart, what we can see from the monthly on GBPUSD, like AUDUSD and euro dollar, also potentially bearish. Previous months we have seen a long wick doji, followed by this month we can see that the market has broken down with a strong momentum, and we see a long wick at the bottom on GBPUSD, and expecting for the price to come down and to fill that long wick. Now looking at the weekly chart, we can see that from the weekly perspective as well, there is a big drop followed by a pullback, and expecting GBPUSD to drop again to create a new lower low. And this is a long-term bearish market, and we have seen a drop, pullback, expecting to continue to the long-term downtrend. Now looking at the daily chart on GBPUSD, we can see that from the daily time frame, this is the daily impulse here. And with the daily impulse, what we can see, last day of trading week form a long wick candle, and as it is a long-term bearish market, the price has reached to this important previous support, turning resistance here. We can expect for this price now to continue to drop again, like euro, dollar and AUDUSD. Now looking at the further lower time frame, we can see the price also forming a head and shoulder in that area, and as soon as we see the price has grabbed significant amount of liquidity, we will be looking to go short on GBPUSD with a high probability trade setup. Now let's look at dollar CAD. Let's see what kind of opportunity we have. Looking at the monthly chart on dollar CAD, what we can see from the monthly perspective on dollar CAD, so far a candle with a long wick at the top. And what we can expect on dollar CAD for the price to bounce back up to fill that long wick at the top. Now looking at the weekly chart, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is a weekly impulse followed by a correction, and we see another impulse, correction, and we have seen a strong impulse. Currently the price from the weekly perspective has dropped well below, as it is a long-term bullish market. We have seen an impulse, correction, and we can expect for the price to create another impulsive move to the upside. Now looking at the daily chart on dollar CAD, we can see that from the daily time frame, this is the daily impulse, and we can see in that area the price was consolidating and dropping down to this level. Now what we can see in that area, the price has consolidated, and this last day of trading week we saw significant liquidity grab. But I think that with the market open, we can expect another wave of drop to grab further liquidity from this support level, as below this level is a high liquidity zone. We can expect dollar CAD to give us suitable entry opportunity. If we see price action confirmation on dollar CAD in that area, we will be looking to go long on dollar CAD with a high probability trade setup. Now let's look at yen pairs, and then also we'll be looking at gold. Traders, make sure that you stick till the end, and also make sure you give a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet. So let's look at now on yen pair, starting with the GBPJPY. Starting with the monthly chart on GJ, we can see that from the monthly perspective, this is the monthly impulse on GBPJPY with a narrower candle on the monthly with a long wick at the top, and the price once open, we have seen a breakout, and with that breakout expecting GJ to create a new higher high. Now looking at the weekly chart on GBPJPY, we see that this is the weekly candle. After this quite a few narrower smaller dodges here on GJ, this is the weekly strong impulsive breakout on GJ, expecting for this price to now continue to the upside, as it is a long-term bull market, and we have seen a long consolidation and break to the upside on GBPJPY. Now looking at the daily chart, what we can see from GJ, that this is an impulse here, and this is the daily candle that has significant liquidity, as we have seen a huge volume in that on GJ. We will be waiting for the price to drop for a deeper pullback and then continue to the upside to create a new higher high. Now looking at the intraday perspective on GBPJPY, what we can see, this is a very strong liquidity grab here, followed by during the high impact news we saw further breakdown, and the price grab multiple liquidity, giving a very high probability for GJ to keep pushing high in the upcoming days and weeks. Now this is where we will be waiting for the price to drop and to give us suitable entry. As soon as we find suitable entry opportunity on GBPJPY, we will be going long with a high probability trade setup. Now let's look at dollar yen. Let's see what kind of price action we have on dollar yen. Looking at the monthly chart, we can see that from the monthly perspective, so far this candle is full body green, which is a very strong bullish market structure on dollar yen, and we'll be waiting for this price to go ahead and to create a new higher high. Now looking at the weekly chart on dollar yen, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is a weekly impulse on dollar yen, followed by this is the weekly candle, and so far it's a bullish candle. We'll be waiting for dollar yen to drop and to give us a suitable pullback, and then to continue to the upside as it is a long-term bullish market. Now looking at the daily chart on dollar yen, we can see that this daily candle is in fact a very strong liquidity gap. Again, we have seen there is a narrower candle, and this is a very high liquidity zone as there is a narrow, quite a few dojis. The price has broken down during the news, and we have seen the price has grabbed the liquidity and then bounced back up to create a new higher high. So looking at the lower time frame here on dollar yen, we can see that there is a long wick pin bar followed by quite a few smaller candles in that area on dollar yen, and we will be waiting for this price for a deeper pullback, and as soon as we find suitable entry on dollar yen, we will be going long on dollar yen with a high probability trade setup. Now let's look at gold to see what kind of opportunity we have in this instrument. Now looking at the monthly chart on gold, we can see that this is the monthly price action on gold, and with this monthly price action, what we can expect on this, there is a long wick at the top, and we will be waiting for this price to go ahead and fill that long wick for long-term perspective, as long-term price action on gold is bullish, and there is only 2 days remaining for this candle. What I think that we might see a bit of downside for deeper pullback and then continuation to the upside in the upcoming month to fill that long wick at the top. Now looking at the weekly chart, we can see that there is a weekly narrow long wick candle. Now this candle we have to look at from a very important significant perspective, is that if you look at, there is a narrow long wick doji here followed by another green candle. Now this weekly candle has broken both of these weekly candles low. Now when you see both of these weekly candles low is broken, where there is a high liquidity grab and the potential for this price to go up is higher this week than going down to the lower, as FOMC coming and NFP coming, we could see that gold is bouncing back to the upside to create a new higher high. Now looking at the daily chart to breaking down further to see how the price is doing here, we can see that from the daily, there was a daily impulse, a big impulse followed by consolidation. We have seen another impulse followed by quite a few times the price grab liquidity, and we have seen a break here this week and consolidation pattern. What I think that this week we might see in the beginning of the week a bit more consolidation to create either a double bottom or any kind of reversal pattern that might be even an inverted head and shoulder, and we could see that ultimately gold is bouncing back up again to merge with its long-term uptrending market, as what is going up is likely to go up. That's the law of trading. Now if we look at the intraday perspective on gold, we can see that from the lower time frame perspective, there is quite a few, this doji is quite significant as it grabbed also massive amount of liquidity, and also you see that there is another long wick candle. As we trade gold on the lower time frame, I will be waiting for any of these support level to be broken, as we see that below this level there is a high liquidity. So with the market open, initially we will be waiting for further downside here, as the market is in a consolidation in that area, expecting to break down first and then to give us suitable price action confirmation for this potential bullish move to the upside with a high probability trade setup. Now if you want to trade gold, euro dollar, GBPUSD and GBPJPY, all of them that we are trading every single day in Forex Trading Wizard Academy. You can join us today to learn the strategy and also to trade with us. There is a link below this video in the description area. Now let's look at WTI and US30, how the market is doing. Now let's look at WTI to see how the price is doing. Looking at the monthly chart on WTI, we can see that from the monthly perspective, this is the monthly long week candle on WTI. There is a strong breakdown here on WTI, and we have seen back-to-back 4 months of pullback. Now this monthly candle on WTI is a long week candle, and we will be waiting for this candle to break and then to reject to the upside again. Now if we look at the weekly chart, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is the weekly impulse on WTI, expecting for this price to break down and then to bounce back up to create a new higher high. Now looking at the daily chart on WTI, we can see that from the daily time frame, the price is currently in a very narrow consolidation pattern. And what I think that on WTI, waiting for this price to break down and then to bounce back up as we see establish uptrend in that area. Any break from that structure might give another entry opportunity on WTI. Now looking at the intraday perspective on WTI, we can see that from the lower time frame perspective, we can see that the price will be waiting for this price to break down, and from that support level, as soon as we find suitable entry, we will be looking to go long on WTI with a high probability trade setup. Now let's look at US30 and NASDAQ. Now looking at the US30, looking at the monthly chart, we can see that from the monthly perspective on US30, so far we have seen a very strong breakdown, which is in fact necessary. As we have seen, there was a big bounce on the monthly, quite a few months of bullish move followed by a pullback. Now this is the monthly impulse, and if we take the Fibonacci level here, we can see that the price is up to 38.2% Fibonacci level, and from that Fibonacci level, what we can see that US30 has got a rejection towards the upside, and we can expect for this price to remain bullish for the long-term perspective. Now looking at the weekly chart on US30, we can see that from the weekly time frame, this is a weekly impulse and quite a few weeks of consolidation, and we have seen sudden breakdown in that from that trend, and we have seen the price currently slowly trying to make its way to the upside as it is a long-term bullish market, and we can expect for the trend continuation on US30. Now looking at the daily chart, we can see that from the daily perspective, we can see there is a double top formation in that area on US30. And what we can expect for this price, there's a breakdown, pullback, breakdown, and we can see that the price is currently slowly turning to be bullish again. As we have seen after this breakdown, there was a massive liquidity grab here with this daily impulse, followed by we can see that here is a long week candle, and we can expect US30 for this price to consolidate and then to bounce back up to create a new higher high. So what you can see on US30 here, there is a drop followed by a complete rejection, and in that rejection what we see that there is a long week rejection on the intraday perspective. We will be waiting for this price to come down and grab liquidity, and if we see that the price has especially broken that low as there is a rejection here, we will be looking to go long on US30 with a high probability trade setup. Now let's look at NASDAQ. Now looking at the monthly chart on NASDAQ, we can see that like the US30, NASDAQ also we have seen a very strong impulse followed by this month so far a rejection from this level after this pullback. Now if we look at the weekly chart, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is a weekly impulse followed by a correction, and we have seen the price is forming series of higher high and higher low for long-term perspective on NASDAQ, and we can see there is a breakdown here followed by this week so far a bullish impulse from this important previous support, and we can see the price started to move back up again to the long-term direction of the trend. Now if we look at the daily chart, we can see there was a rejection from the support, and there is a bullish engulfer here followed by a narrower doji, which is in fact a potentially continuation pattern on NASDAQ, and we'll be waiting for this price to go ahead and to create a new higher high. Now if we look at the lower time frame here on NASDAQ, we can see that there was a double bottom formation breakout, and we have seen again pullback. The market is forming series of higher high and higher low. Now this is an important level of support here on NASDAQ, and I will be waiting for this price to break and then to grab liquidity and then to continue to the upside to create a new higher high. Now this is the level that I will be waiting for any kind of entry on NASDAQ. Traders, I believe that you enjoyed this weekly Forex forecast. In addition to that, any instrument giving us suitable entry opportunity, we will be looking to go long with a high probability trade setup. And in the meantime, if you want to trade all of them with us, becoming a member of this Forex Trading Wizard Academy, you can find a link below this video in the description area. I will invite you to join us today to become part of this trading community where you will be learning the strategy and also trading with me in the live trading room. Until then, stay well, stay happy.